Hello guys, I hope you are doing very well today. I want to say good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are listening from. So I had the privilege to put a student through some basic stuffs around computing, and I wanted to go into the YouTube channels to make sure that I make some videos available to the student, and I realized that some basic things are not being captured, or maybe I don't know how to search for them. But I just thought to bring some very basic thing, the elementary part that everyone who wants to come into tech from zero should be able to know what to do. So if you are well advanced, you may be looking at what I'm doing as too basic, but trust me, there are a lot of persons who need this knowledge, and that's why this is being done. So this is actually tech from the scratch, and this is actually a movement. So if you have anyone who needs to venture into tech, you may need to recommend the user to this playlist that I want to start bringing up one after the other. So before us here is the screen of the computer. So this happens after starting the PC, right? So you land here. This is called the desktop. And what you have here are called the icons. So you can have folders, you can have applications, and something around that. So you can see that they are scattered. Some are by the right hand, some are by the left hand side. So it depends on the settings that I've given to them. I mean, the way that I've sorted the desktop, right? So I can decide to sort them by name, and you see that everything has moved to the right hand side and they are sorted by name. I can decide to also sort this icon by type so that the same item that have the same type can be in the same place. You can see the folders are together, the applications are together, and something of that nature. So you can also come to say, okay, you want to modify just to move these icons to where you want them to be on the screen, right? So this is very interesting because, for example, you want to just move your folder towards this corner here. You can move them here. But if you have, that's not possible if you have this sorted in this form. For example, you say sort by name, everything flies, and if you drag this, it's going to look at it. If I say sorts by, just hold on. If I say sorts by size, this comes. Let me see. Okay, I can still drag this. Good enough. So I can still drag my stuffs to one side, right? So this is basically telling you about the icons you have on the desktop, okay? So, and how to move them, how to sort them, how to modify the look of your desktop, all right? So this I'm just going to sort by name so that it can be on the same side, okay? So now the next thing I just want to show you, I haven't told you that this is what is called a desktop when you boot up a computer the very first time, right? Now, looking at this here that you see is the Windows icon or the search. You can see can is a start bar, right? Start in the sense that this is what gives you access to everything you have in the machine. You can search for it, but I just want to bring up on-screen keyboard. So if you search for on-screen keyboard, then it's going to bring you this keyboard. So this keyboard is a keyboard that is actually a soft keyboard integrated into the PC. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I will not be able to show you my keyboard at this time, all right? Because I am not having a camera showing my keyboard. But of course, trust me, we are going to look at this keyboard that is on the screen and try to use it to explain the basic things that I want you to know when you want to start using your computer. So here, if you look at these keys, right, you have the number key 1 to 9, and then you have 0, and then you have the alphabet key, and it is QWERTY, right? Then you have that is QWERTY. So most of us who use Android would understand that this is how the Android keyboard is also arranged. Yeah, look at ASDF. Just check your keyboard on your Android, and you see that this is the default arrangement, except you want to change the password to, I mean the keyboard to another type of keyboard. So if you look at these, you have this coming. I think I need to bring up Word so that it can be Well explained. Of course, you see again that when I want to bring up word, I have to click either here to bring it up, or you see this button here is also the same thing as here, so I can also use this one, okay? But I'm using this one at this time. Either will work, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So I have Word because if you press this, which I'm going to explain, you have option to search for any applications you have on your system. So I just want to bring up Word. So Word is actually a document or text editing software. Apart from Word, you have Notepad, but Notepad is very, very basic. But because of what I want to demonstrate today, I just want to bring up Microsoft Word. So while that is trying to load up, I may just want to bring up Notepad just for you to see another text editing tool and commonly used text editing tool. I may just move this down so you can see this up here. I may also want to shrink it in a bit. So the way I shrink in is just to take my cursor. So this is what is called a cursor down to this notepad and drag it up the way I want it. And then for this, I'm going to left click on the keyboard and drag it up here and fix it this way. So I'm hoping that the Word would have loaded also, but before we come back to Word, since we're already here on the notepad, I just want to show you how this look like. So here is where you see the cursor blinking, right? You can see something blinking behind there. That means that is where my text is going to be written. And then I have A, S, D, F, right? G, H, J, K, and that way. Now, one very important thing I want you to know is that, for example, I am writing I am writing a statement. This is and then I want to write someone's name, Paul, because I want to explain these keyboards to you, right? This is one to this, and then these are the alphabet. And if you look at this left hand side, you are going to have escape, tab, caps, then you have shift, you have FN, control, Windows key, alternate key, and then to the right hand side, you have the backspace, you have the delete key, you have the enter key, you have the shift key. Now, if I want to look at something here, you would see that you have the shift key here, you have the shift key here. There are two, one on the left and one on the right. Then if you look at the control key as well, you have a control key here and you also have another control key here. The same thing on the physical keyboard as well. Then you have there's another key that appears twice, the alternate key and the alternate key here. The both of them do the same thing. So the one you see by your left and the one you see by your right, they both do the same thing. Okay. Now if you come here, remember I was saying this is, right? I want to write someone's name. Let's say Paul. So I'm going to either press caps lock and all this change to capital letter and I press P. I put it off and I say AUL and this is a full stop, right? And this is the longest key on the keyboard. If I press it, it's going to give me space. That's what it does, the space bar. Okay. Now, what happens is if I want to say this is Paul and I want to say he is from Lagos. So what I would do is either I press these caps for everything to turn to capital letters, right? Or I will click on shift and it will turn to capital letter for me and I press what? Lagos L and it goes off by itself. But for caps lock, I would have to be the one to turn it off. I'm sure that is making sense to you. What I'm saying is for caps lock, I have to be the one to turn it off. So if I'm typing if I'm typing and I want to write a capital letter, right? Okay, let me finish this. GOS. Okay, so let's look at this. I'm sure I'm trying to make sense with this. Let's say he, okay, let's come back this way and put a comma and we say we want to write he is, from Lagos, and then we do a full stop. What I'm saying now is the next thing you're going to type is, since the caps lock is turned off, is going to be small letter. But for you to write it as capital letter, you have to press down the shift key with your hand and press S, and it goes off, right? Or you press D and it's in capital letter, it goes off by itself, right? So that is the difference between shift and caps lock. So what I'm saying is, if you have your keys on the small character, what I mean is that if you have all your keys in lowercase, I think that's the right word, in lowercase, and you hold down the shift key, then all the characters become caps lock. But as soon as you press what you want to look for and remove your hand from the shift, it returns to what it was. If it was in capital letter, then it becomes small letter. If it was in small letter, it becomes capital letter. Now look at it. If I have the caps lock on and I press the shift, then this is going to be small letter. But as soon as I'm done, it will return back to caps lock. If you have question about this, you can use the comment section. I'll be very attentive to this particular series of video, just so you know the very fundamentals of the computer system. Now, I want to put off the caps lock and explain something very important. So the enter key, you see where I was, the enter key, the function is to leave the line you are typing to go to the next line. If I don't want to type anything on this line, I want to hit enter again, I will just keep hitting it and it keeps going down. Okay, now let us say that I want to type, you see 1, you have the exclamation mark up there. You see 2, you have the @ symbol, and hash in 3, dollar in 4, percentage in 5, carat in 6, and so on, right? If you come to this other side, you have the double quotation and up here, and then you have the single quotation down here. If you come to this one, you have the column up there, you have the semicolon down here, right? And then if you come here also, you have comma down below, and you have the less than sign up there. If you also come here, you have the greater than sign, and then you have, so what I mean is, you are going to be having some keys up and some keys down on the same key. Now, how do you press the exclamation mark when you have 1 on the key, right? When do you use the word, when would the @ symbol types and not 2? Because if I click here, it's going to be 2. If I click here, it's going to be 3. If I click here, it's going to be 4. If I click here, it's going to be 5. So when will this give me percentage, and when will this give me the dollar sign? That's the next thing I want to show you. So we already know how to use the enter key, right? So let's just hit enter and then hit enter again. Okay, now the next thing we want to look at is how to type the exclamation mark. So if I want to do that, I hold down the shift key, and I see that all the upper signs here are activated white, and the base characters are now grayed out. So the shift key is doing 2 things here. The shift key is saying, okay, you can type in capital letters now that it was in small letter, or you may want to type the numbers appearing up here. So I will just hit on it, and then that is exclamation mark, and then I do shift again, and then the @ sign comes up. If I do shift again, the next one, which is the hash sign, and then if I do shift again, I'm going to do what? Going to see let's say percentage. But mind you, you have to, if you are on the physical keyboard, you have to hold down the shift key and then press 5 to see the percentage. The same thing happens if you come to this other side of the keyboard. Let's say, for example, I want to type the double quotation. I will hold down my shift key and click on this to see that it is the up quotation that is there showing, right? Let me see if I can increase this font. Fonts, okay, so that it can be bigger for you. Don't worry about this if it's a bit complex. I just want us to see this clearly, okay? I'm just shifting. So let's keep it at 20. Yeah, I think it's better this way. So I was trying to show you this quotation. So for me to type to, let's say I have something happening inside the quotation, and here let's say I want to space out. I have something happening inside the quotation and I want to type in the upper sign again. So what I would do is to press down the shift key and then I'll close the quotation mark, and then let me just do a shift. I will explain the shift bar also, but I'm sure you are trying to also understand how the shift bar works as well. So the next thing that you will do if you want to type the backward slash, for example, you type this, but if you want to type the um, pipe sign, which is the vertical line standing, you just type the shift key and then you press this and that happens. Okay, so having explained what the shift key does, right, the next thing you want us to look at is should be that we are looking at the the control key, because that's very important as well. You have the control key here, you have the control key here. So the control key is actually used for several things, for a lot of shortcuts. For example, Control A will highlight everything I have on what we have been typing, right? Then, where this will make more sense, let us do Control plus X is going to cut, right? So let's bring up our word now and let's expand it. Okay, we'll bring out our word and we expand it. So the same thing that happened in that notepad is what we are also going to be looking at here. Do I want to save this? I'm not sure I want to save it anyway. So, but don't worry, we'll just close this out. We can continue from here. Okay, so Control plus A is going to highlight everything, right, for me. Control plus B is going to bold everything for me. I'm sure I don't have word license on this, and that's why it is. Let me see. Let me quickly sign into another Word document, another account on that. Okay, so I should be good now. So I was saying something. Let's say you have what we copied, right? We're going to do Control V. Okay, so these are very small, so I can come up here and increase the font size to maybe 20, so that it can be obvious to you when you view this. Okay, so from what you have here, Control plus A, I think I can shrink this keyboard a bit. Yes, I can. So if I do Control plus A, Control plus A, excuse me, Control plus A will highlight everything. Control plus B will bold everything for me. I hope you are looking at the changes. Control plus S would want to save. So let's start from the very beginning. Control plus A is highlighting everything. Control plus B, of course, you can see the difference it makes making already. Then Control plus C is going to copy what I have here. Control plus C is going to copy. So the way it is right now, I have it copied and embolded. So very quickly, if I do Control plus N, it's going to give me a new clean slate. If I do Control plus V, then it is going to paste that for me. But this is not the original document that we are working on. I had used a copy and I have pasted in this new document. So let me just minimize this and come back to the original that we were working on. Now I have done Control plus A as highlight all, Control plus B as bold, Control plus C as copy. Then I will show you Control plus D. That works mostly on first on shapes. For example, if I have a rectangular shape this way and it is highlighted, you can see the dots all around it. If I do Control plus D, then it's going to duplicate this for me. If I do another Control plus D again, then it keeps bringing this out for me, the same shape, the same size. I can move it, I can work with it. That is what Control plus D can do for you. Control plus D. You can also, after D, right? After D, you have E. So what this does is that, for example, you have Control plus A. Let me remove these ones so that I'll just do delete. So I'm using opportunity to show you how delete works. Okay. So let's now say, for example, I do Control plus A and then I have done D, right? A, B, C, D. So we are going to do E. So how does the E works? Of course, you can see that what I'm typing, everything is starting from the right hand side, right? So if I do Control A, it highlights all. If I do Control E, it will be at the middle. So it means that everything I'm going to be typing is going to be starting from the middle. Okay, so I want to I will jump the alphabet because of what I'm trying to explain, right? So Control plus E is center alignment. Okay, so if I want this to start from the left, now I'll do Control plus L and then it start from the left. So if I hit enter, it goes to the next line. If I want it to start typing from the far right hand, I'm going to do Control plus R and then it start typing from here, the far right hand side. Okay, then if I do enter and I want it to start typing from middle, I'll do Control plus E to start typing from the middle. And you see this. Now if I do enter again and then you see I'm typing down, right? And then I first want it to come to the right hand side, I'll do Control plus J. That is it. And if I'm typing this way and I hit enter, then everything will start typing from the same line. Am I correct? Let us now say, okay, we don't want it emboldened again. We say Control A and then we do Control B. Unbold it. Bold and then unbold. Of course, it's okay. We can see what we have on the screen. Now, the next thing I want us to look at is, for example, we want to, um, enter and then we want it to also have a paragraph while we're entering into the next conversation. We want we want this to be a paragraph and not just the way it is, right? So what you do is to come back to the beginning of the line, click on this, and then there is a tab key. This is a tab key on your keyboard. You are going to have like an arrow, one facing the back and one facing the front, and you have two strokes standing at their fronts. Okay, now what you do is to click on that tab and it paragraphs for you. Okay, now if you come back to the end and you hit on enter and you keep typing, so the essence of the tab key is for you to paragraph. If you want to shift this one entirely inside as well, you just hit on the tab key and then it will move inside. If you want it to move back, of course, you can use this. But on the keyboard, you have option to use a shift and then the tab to move it backward. So what I mean is that you have this to the front, sorry, you have this tab to the front, and then you want to move it back, you can press on the shift and then press tab and it will come back. So I am using that to tell you how the tab key works as well. So having explained all this, I've shown you how the enter key works, right? So this is body of character, body of text, and we have made a lot of changes already. How do you revert maybe to where we have the character emboldened? That is where Control plus Z or Control plus Z, depending on how you pronounce it, works. So you can, anytime you do Control plus Z, so what is happening is that you are undoing what you have done already. You are going back to what you had. So the more you click the Control plus Z, then the more you are going to have to go back to where you were coming from. While Control plus Y will redo what you have just undo. It will be taking you again to where you reverted from. So Control Y is to redo, while Control Z is to undo. Okay, so I think I've shown you, yeah, Control U. I need to show you Control U. So Control U, for example, is to underline what you have written. Control U is to underline what you have written. So if I want this underlined, I'm just going to do Control plus U, and that will have an underline in between it. So maybe because that doesn't, let's say topic, so that it will be very clear to us, is carrying underline because I have Control U pressed on ground. So if I do Control U now, the line is going to leave. So if I want it to carry the line again, I can do Control Z. And what that does is it undoes my removal of the underline. Okay, so that is what Control Y and Control Z actually does for you. Okay, so again, I want to talk about Control I. So Control I, what does it do is to make it italic in nature. So let's say I am saying consideration for beginners. So it's carrying underline. I needed to have removed the underline by doing Control U, right? So there's no underline right now. So remember, I want to use Control I. So if I press, I would first of all have to highlight what I want to I would want to that I want to make I want to act on. So if I want to act on everything, then I can do Control A, and it works. If I do Control I, everything just gets lined into the right hand side, right? But if I want to again undo this, I'll do Control Z and everything is standing. So if I highlight this, that is the only thing I want to act on. So how do I highlight? I put my cursor either at the beginning here or at the end here. I will click and hold it and drag towards the left. Or I come here and I click it and I drag towards the right. It's highlighted. This is just to highlight a portion of the the document. If I want to highlight only a word, if I want to act only on this word, I can highlight it this way by stopping here, or I can double click on the word and that will just highlight that for me. So but I want to work on everything. If I want to work on these two, it's fine. I can just do Control plus I and only that will be sliding. If I want to embolden just this back and leave this front for some reason I don't know, you can do Control plus B, which I've shown you earlier, and you'll see that this is not slanting but it is boldened, and this one is slanting because it has been interlaced. Making sense to you, I guess. So now if I continue typing, everything is going to be bending towards the right hand side. But even if I space, of course it will be bending. Now this is an issue. How do I again bring or continue typing in a straight form? I'm going to press on Control plus I again. And then if I continue typing now, everything is going to be standing well. But if I do Control I again and I start typing, everything is now going to again be sliding out. You can see. Okay, so that's how that works. Control I, that's how it works. Then if I come to this place and I want to explain something at this far right hand side, you have the backspace. So for example, if I want to delete everything here, I want to use the backspace to delete it. So first I need to put my cursor after the character that I want to delete. That is this blinking guy. Let's do it here. The cursor is blinking here, right? Not here. I want to remove something here at the middle. So what I would do is I'm going to click the backspace, and then it start removing one character after the other, right? Until it is done. And then again, if I press Ctrl Z, it start bringing them back one after the other, because Ctrl Z is going to be undoing for me, right? Okay, so having said that, what is now the function of delete key? Since the backspace is deleting this for me already, what the difference is, I would use this to explain. For example, this backspace is also for me to close out gaps when I type. Of course, you see that this is too large. It's not supposed to be a conventional gap. So I will use the backspace. Sorry, I put it here, and I'll do the backspace, one shift, okay? And then now, if you look at it, if I want to delete the F, which is from the for, FOR, I'm going to use delete, because if I do backspace, it closes it. It's not deleting the F. But look at it. If I do delete, it remove F. Delete, it remove O. Delete, it removes R. Let's do Ctrl Z. Ctrl Z again. Ctrl Z again. Then it has brought back the 4 for us, right? If I want to delete, if I put my cursor in between the F and the O, here is the trick. If I do backspace, it's going to delete F. If I do delete, it's going to delete O. Look at it. Backspace, F is out. Ctrl Z to bring it back. Delete, O is out. Ctrl Z to bring it back. Now, what did you observe? The backspace deletes to the left, while the delete erases text to the right. So that's what you need to distinguish between what you just looked at right now. So this is the space bar here. I will just do Ctrl A, and then if I do this, either the backspace or the delete is going to wipe off the whole thing that I've worked on. Everything. Backspace. So if I do Ctrl Z, everything comes back highlighted. If I do delete, everything goes the same way without difference. Understood? So that's how that works. Okay, so if I want to bring that back, I can do Ctrl Z and all of them will be back. Let me know if I emphasize. So let's just delete this. Okay, so this is how basically the keyboard works. So if I'm typing and then I have the characters going on, if I want to type capital letter, I do this. If I want to do a space, so I'm going to press this and then I continue typing space. So if I want to move backwards, if for example I do a double space here, this way, there's a double space there. If I want to close it out, I'm just going to use this. So in summary, this is the space bar, this is the backspace, which deletes your text to the left. This is delete key, which deletes or erases text to the right. This is the enter key, which is going to give you option to go to the next line. This is this I've shown you the enter. So the shift key is to alter between, one of the functions is to alter between capital letter and small letters, and majorly to type the characters that are appearing at the top of the key or each key of the keyboard. That's what the shift does. And then you have the navigation bar. The navigation bar actually helps you to navigate the cursor. You see it moving backward and forward depending on where you are. So documents, if you have documents that is um, longer, of course, the up will help you navigate from one line to the other, and then the left goes to the left, the right goes to the right, and then the up goes to the up. So that's how that is. And then again, you have control key. Of course, there are two, and then they do the same thing. So control plus A, B, C, and S is for save and all of that. Then you have the alt key. The alt key is also two, right? One at the left, one at the right. And then you have the Windows key. So what this does for you is to help you to search your computer for stuff, application, folders, documents, and so on. So when you press the Windows key, then you are going to have that option to search for those. Then these are the major keys. So for escape, escape is to close out what you have opened. So these are pretty the basic keyboard characters that you would use on regular basis. If you have questions, like I mentioned, this particular series is a movement and it's for those who have not got content to start up their skill or their career in tech because they don't even have the basic elementaries of how to start. So this is going to take you from zero to hero. A lot of us have actually done things like this. If you've watched this to this extent, it means that you are truly interested in this content. So I want you to give it a like. I want you to share with friends whom you want to help to start off their career in tech. And I will always be here to answer questions. Drop them on the comment section and I'll be happy to do that. Thank you very much and have a great day.